Good morning. It's July the 19th, 2016. Time to kick off another trading day. And again, given the lack of news overnight and on tap for this morning, hard to see any of the markets really getting up and going. The E-mini still has an upward bias. I just don't see it selling. It can come off a little bit, but we still have a lot of people out there that run these central banks and the political parties that are in power right now that do not want to see stock markets coming off, and they will do what it takes to do it. So while you can enjoy some selling, you can't get married to the position until things change. No matter how many articles we read about the impending doom, the stock market's getting ready to turn around, all the signals are negative, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't matter as long as the Fed is out there supporting her. It hadn't mattered to date. So I think ultimately today's strength of the E-mini will turn this market or not. So resistance begins in the 32.12 area and kind of tops out at 16. So 11 to 15 is sell 1. 19 to 23 is sell 2. On the buy side, I don't think we break it, so 1 to 5, buy 1, unless the stock market really gets going crazy to the upside. Easier for treasuries to sell than the stock market, in my opinion. And then buy 2 is 25 to 29. Housing starts plus 1.17, and this is where they go. When you break ground, you get about a 30% advance on the cost of a house, and developers and builders need cash flow too. Permits plus 1.15. So permits are probably expected to be down. Could come in lower than this, as supposedly multifamily housing is falling out of favor right now, so we'll have to see. All boils down to which way the E-mini is going to go today, in my opinion. Okay, looking at the 30-year. Resistance is 16 to 20. That's number 1. So 23, 27, sell 1. I'm going to back it up to 3 to 7 to sell 2. On the buy side, we've got support 4 to 8. So 29 to 01, buy 1. And then 17 to 21, buy 2. Always hard to believe that you can reach the number 2 levels in the 30-year, but we usually don't have a lot of trouble. Okay, if we don't get through 16 to 20, it is a sell. And again, that's probably more dependent upon the E-mini than anything else. Gold is higher. There was some rumored activity from the Turkish central bank. They were expected to do nothing at all to cut interest rates by 0.5%. I haven't seen that they did anything. Go the longest line of letters and left click. So here we are at our 35.37. 35.37, sell 1. 40 to 42, sell 2. On the buy side, 28 to 30, buy 1. And then 24, 26, buy 2. Still think anybody that is buying gold for all the right reasons views any pullback as a chance to buy the physical. Well, the euro was dead last night. Nothing going on. Europe's got, I mean, it's amazing how many problems Europe is facing right now. I mean, will the EU hold together? What's the shape of it? What's Turkey's status or role going to be? I mean, Turkey would be under this guy is the worst, and he won't last forever, which is why they're trying to keep something going. It is the Bosphorus Straits, where you can lock up Russia. That makes Turkey important, but Lord, this guy is bad news for the country and bad news for NATO, the United States, and everybody else, as he extorts and extracts his billions of dollars from the Turkish economy. It's his time to loot the treasury. So Turkey is going to be making the news headlines. Again, most of the stuff that you read right now is that this coup was pre-planned by Erdogan. The list of people being purged, the way that it was moved, the false confessions, to get somebody to take the blame for all of this, and all done to cement his power. And that's what dictators and aspiring dictators do. They deflect attention from themselves by starting war, creating domestic problems, etc., where you don't want to change horses in the middle of the stream. Okay, the euro is selling. There's our 10.50. We're there. So I think it's going to go a little bit lower. So we'll make 10.25. Buy one. Buy two, 110 even. On the sell side, 10.75. 111 even for sell two. We are at support. We do have to take out 10.50 and then stay below it to hold the shorts in their positions. Crude oil was off last night. Don't read a lot of encouraging news out of the energy sector as far as supply and demand go. The market is oversupplied, and demand appears to be waning as economies soften around the globe. Tomorrow is August expiration, and with contango, you'd expect that most of the large players are short, so we could have nice support today and tomorrow as the shorts come out of their position. So 46.50, 46.75, sell one. 47, 47 and a quarter, sell two. On the buy side, 45.50, 45.75, buy one. Then we'll make it 45, 44.75, buy two. I think the easiest trade to see is failure to take out the 46.50 area right up in here. But we do have the expiration stuff to deal with, and that tends to be supportive because the market is short into expiration. I do like the short side better though. Will the ES break today or not? My guess is it can be a little lower, but I don't think it's going to break. And again, it's just because of the outright support of our government. Central bank. I mean, imagine you being Janet Yellen and having to call up this administration and tell them that you're going to raise interest rates or you're going to do something to tighten up the markets. You talk about a howl heard around the world from the White House and the West White House. I mean, it would be significant. So very, very difficult to do anything but maintain the current course, and that's what they're doing. So buy one's 49 to 51. Buy two is 44 to 46. So we're trying to buy 45s to 50s. On the sell side, last rotate up was 58, so 59, 61, sell 1, 64, 67, sell 2. My guess is we're going to end up with a trading range today. Buyers against 50, sellers above 60. Don't think we break it out. Okay, it's going to take a while to get everything up and posted. Running behind this morning. Not because I didn't start early enough. It's just that I got oblivious to the clock. Be back with you as soon as possible. Good afternoon. It's July the 19th, 2016, and time to talk about today's trading. Recap what we did. The E-mini, we came in this morning with a trading bias. Didn't see any way that the market would break down today given the Fed support, the lack of interest really. We wanted to sell 59s to 61s. We lowered that to put a question mark at 57, 58, and that turned out to be the high of the day. Our hope was to buy 51s or better. Didn't even make 52 to the downside. But we got pretty early on indications of where support and resistance was. For those of you that are new to the room, this is your sell band. This is your buy band. And if you think the market's going to be in a bracket, you just fade the two yellow lines right here. So the first trade that's set up for us, and it's a lousy place to take a trade right here, was this S. You're well below the mode or the mean. That is a marginal trade. So the first trade that really sets up for us right here is a retest failure trade right off the low. And that gave you a little bit. Frankly, you know, you were trading for a point. You're trading for 4, maybe 8 ticks. Next trade that sets up with us, that gives us everything we want. Triple top with an S over the bar. Break that bar's low, you're short again for maybe a point. Retest failure right here. Take out that bar's high right there, a winner. Retest failure right here. Take out that bar's low, small winner. Gets down to the mode. Come back up here, retest failure with a failed auction. Pretty nice winner. Retest failure, multiple down here. This, you know, I'm selling into the hole. It's a bracketed call. We don't think the market is going to break. You can take that trade, but you better move your stop to break even on that third bar. Trade goes nowhere. Still below the mode mean, bracketed market, not really interested in getting short down here. Below, there's another retest failure trade that sets up. Now I'm above the mode mean. Retest failure, that trade sets up. Then is followed by an S. So very, very quiet, very, very difficult trading when you get right down to it today in the E-mini. So what is the big picture stuff? Lower high, lower low. Based on the F1 screen, we can find a place to sell it. Looking at our F2 screen. Definitely a B. The issue is, will the market actually break? The 50-lot trader has been a seller the last 2 days, so there's some big money coming in on the short side. Minimally long liquidation, and we should give us a test of 50. Like to engage the market in this 45 area, but because this is a B, okay to sell it. So 58, 60, sell 1. 65, 67, sell 2. On the buy side, think we can go a little bit lower. Think we can test this. So 49, 51, buy 1. And then 41, 46, buy 2. Those are the areas we'd be looking for our setups in. The news tomorrow, crude inventories. And they'd be hoping for a draw. Tomorrow's also crude expiration, which could add some interest to the trading. But what we find on crude oil on the inventory report days is that we have about a 40-50 tick range. Doesn't do a lot. It is the middle of the summer. It's hotter than hell outside. A lot of people are on vacation. Takes longer for trades to develop, or they develop instantly, move faster than you would expect them to be able to move. But it is summertime trading. It's a good time to learn the software. It's a good time to study. It's a good time to review videos, go back, and increase your knowledge. Higher low, higher high. We can trade higher, but you can see right here we got a pretty clean break at 132.12. Put all this stuff together, and we're still kind of working on a B down here. So we can trade from the long side based on that screen. Very, very square distribution on our F2 screen. But we've got most of the volume down below. So 11 to 15, sell 1. That's based on the idea that the E-mini isn't selling with some momentum to the downside. Sell 2s 19 to 23. On the buy side, we still like our 1 to 5, pretty much where we were this morning. And then 25 to 29. See us in a trading range, pretty quiet. Okay, got a question today. Takes about 2.4 contracts right now, maybe 2.5 contracts, 2.5 notes for one bond, and you'll have the same bottom line. But the note's a little tougher to trade because it forces you to execute one tick inside the pivot highs or the pivot lows. And it takes a little nimbleness, it takes a little savvy to do that. On the bond, you can break the signal bars high or low and still do okay. Okay, here we are at 9. Resistance you can see is definitely 16 to 20. Well, actually, I want to make it 12 to 16. That's where we are for 1. So first sell is 19 to 23. Sell 1. And 31 to 03. No news to drive tomorrow's trading. We'll be looking overseas for the news. 172 even. 172.04 is our first little band of support. So 25, 29. Pretty much where we were today, and 17 to 21. I don't see a big day tomorrow. Gold and crude give us our best opportunity, and tomorrow, because the EIA report, I don't think crude and contract expiration crude is going to give us much. So gold's probably the market with the best opportunity tomorrow. And speaking of gold, it's real hard for me to get excited about the short side of the market. Inside day on F1 trading range for tomorrow. It's too easy to wake up to Turkey news or another terror attack or something like that, and they're going on all the time in the United States. We have our Muslim people doing it. We have a black separatist movement that usually has ties to some form of Islam attacking policemen right now. Black Lives Matter. So it's real hard not to wake up and have some more bad headlines in our face. And I think there's been something like 6 or 7 separate instances of cops being attacked. And I think at least 8 cops are dead over the last week or so, which is really wrong. There's a war on cops going on right now by Black Lives Matter, no matter what they say. And it needs to be quelled. Okay, looking at gold, we have a P that favors the upside. We did not get through 35, so 34, 36, sell 1. 39.41, sell 2. On the buy side, we had 28 to 30, that's buy 1. 24.26, buy 2. The only thing that's different now, what's going on in our big cities, and again, they're not burning them down. the killing, the hatred, the outright violence, it's there. It's just like it was in the 60s. Assassinations in the 60s. We had assassinations in the 60s. Some pretty big fish got killed in the 60s too. Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, to mention a couple. We have that going on right now. So next step or phase is to burn down your city, which never has made sense to me. You know, I would, if you wanted to hold the physical, Greg, I would go to Makata or some places like that. There's dealers, if you buy ingots in your own town, that have the physical. Usually you can get a pretty good price there. I mean, it'll be spot plus a markup, but you'll be paying that at Makata or other places too. The spot price would be the futures price plus some markup, and I don't know what that would be. I would, if you could buy gold below $1,300, I think that would be a hell of a buy. But anything below 1310, 1300 would be a great place as far as prices go to get some. And if you're doing it for survival, to have something that's fungible to work on the street and buy things, silver's a better deal than gold. Okay, crude looks like it's going to try to trade lower. My guess is we're going to get stops below 45. So tomorrow is contract expiration, which screws things up. It does affect the dynamics. It's also, unfortunately, EIA inventory day, which usually limits us to about a 50 tick trading range. So buy one's 45, 45 and a quarter. Buy two is going to be 44.50, 44.75. On the sell side, 45.75, 45, 46 even, sell one. And 46 and a quarter, 46.50, sell two. Pretty tight trading range. There is a seller above 46.50. There's definitely a buyer below 45. So trying to buy 44.50 to 45s and trying to sell basically 46 to 46.50 is the trade in crude. Think the euro is going to make at least 110. I think it's headed for it. We've been calling for it for a week or so now. It's been very, very quiet trading. Just not a whole hell of a lot going on. Okay, on our F1 screen, lower high, lower low. Look for a place to sell it, and that's as far as we go on the analysis on that. But after I get finished with this and get everything published, we'll talk about longer term trading off of the F1 screen and F2. Then on the euro right here, you're definitely looking at a B. Volume is below time. We're looking for a place to sell it. So we'd like to, I don't know if we can get it to 75. So our first sell is 50 to 60. Second trade is 75 to 85 for sell 2. On the buy side, there's our 10.25. We're at 10.24. So let's play for 110 even, buy 1. 9.75, buy 2. And maybe we'll get some bad news out of Europe or Turkey that'll force that to happen. Okay, bad news out of Turkey will, in its own way, support the euro. And the Turkish lira is under some pressure because of... Most of the stuff I read right now say it was a staged coup, so Erdogan could come in and cement power on the country. Tried and true tactics, works every time when you can pull it off. How to become a dictator, and he's been working very, very hard at doing that. Okay, that's all I have for right now. I'll see you bright and early in the morning. I'm going to button this up, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about long-term trading off the F1 screen here for a moment.